"Who do you think you are to stop me?" The furious roar of Liam Crawford, the school's star boxer, echoed throughout the gym. His hand was clenched tightly around the throat of Anya Sharma, his own coach, pinning her against a cold iron pillar. The air was dead silent. The entire boxing team held their breath, expecting a plea for mercy, an act of submission. But what they saw was silence. Anya's eyes held no fear. The moment Liam's hand touched her neck, a switch inside her flipped. The world around her blurred. The gym, the students' terrified faces, it all dissolved. In its place was the memory of a cramped alley in Kandahar, facing a crazed enemy. The combat instincts she had suppressed for so long erupted. Her body moved before her brain could even give the command. And in the next 4 seconds, Liam Crawford would pay for the biggest mistake of his life. A mistake that awakened the person Anya Sharma had tried so hard to bury. To understand why this moment happened, we have to go back a few months, to the first day her fragile peace began to crack. It did not start with a punch, but with a word. An arrogant word and a contemptuous act that sowed the seeds of an unavoidable confrontation. The boxing gym at Westgate University was not just her workplace. It was Anya Sharma's fortress of solitude. The 4 concrete walls, the distinct scent of leather gloves, the smell of sweat, and the rhythmic thud of punches against a heavy bag, all of it created a familiar rhythm that helped her calm her mind and escape the haunting ghosts of her past. After leaving the military, the silence of a normal life was what she feared the most. In that stillness, she could hear the screams, feel the heat of explosions, and see the eyes of Ben, her comrade who fell right in front of her. But the gym was different. The structured noise here helped drown out the screams haunting her mind. Here, she was Coach Sharma, the one who gave commands, set goals, and guided everyone. Though it was not a battlefield, it was a sanctuary she had built for herself. Deep breath. Exhale. Anya's voice was not loud, but it was sharp enough to cut through all the noise. She glided among the students like a ghost, her footsteps barely making a sound. "Gardner, your hands are low again. Do you want to break your nose? Jessica, do not just use your arms, twist your hips. The power is there." Her gaze swept across the room, quick as a flash and catching every minor mistake. It was a skill honed on the battlefield, where spotting a sniper behind a window or a tripwire could mean the difference between life and death. Now, she used that skill to correct the posture of kids who had never known danger, and strangely, it brought her a sense of peace. That order was shattered on a Tuesday afternoon when the gym door burst open and Liam Crawford, along with his entourage, walked in. Liam did not just walk, he took up space. Like a young king entering his domain, he carried a confidence, a self-satisfaction that bordered on arrogance. His friends followed behind, laughing loudly and disrupting the rhythm that Anya had worked so hard to build. The entire gym almost came to a standstill. The other students either looked on in admiration or quickly lowered their heads to avoid his gaze. Anya stopped, crossing her arms over her chest. She waited. "Oh, look who is so serious," Liam said loudly, patting a friend on the shoulder. "Our new coach looks a little stressed out." Anya did not move. She let her silence answer. When Liam and his group finally sauntered to the center of the room, she spoke. "You're late, Crawford." Her voice was cold and flat, without a hint of emotion. "Traffic, coach," he shrugged, a provocative smirk on his face. "I'm sure you know how the streets are out there. Anyway, we're here now. Shall we begin?" "Before we begin," Anya said, her eyes locked on his, a calm but piercing gaze. 20 push-ups for being late. All of you." The smile on Liam's face froze. He glanced at his friends, who had suddenly fallen silent. Being punished in front of everyone by a woman he considered a mere employee was an unacceptable humiliation, and that was when he let out a contemptuous remark. "Come on, coach, these warm-ups are for girls. Why don't we get to the main event?" If a single word could be a crack, the entire gym just cracked. The tension became tangible, a suffocating weight in the air. Anya's expression did not change. She had faced life-threatening insults, curses in languages she did not understand. This childish provocation was nothing. "Warm-ups are the foundation," she replied, her voice as steady as a machine. "Without a foundation, you're just a big guy swinging your arms wildly. 20 push-ups for being late. Or you can leave. You have set the limit." Liam felt the blood rush to his face. He was not used to being denied. He was not used to being given orders. He gritted his teeth, anger etched onto his handsome face. He decided to show this woman her place. He slowly stepped closer to Anya, invading her personal space. He was a head taller than her, and he used that advantage to look down at her. "Here," he growled, just loud enough for her to hear, but clear enough to feel the threat. "I'm the one who makes the rules. Maybe you should learn to respect the people who pay your salary." Then, as he walked past her, he deliberately slammed his shoulder into hers. It was not an accidental bump, it was a deliberate act, an assertion of power, an absolute act of contempt. The entire gym held its breath. Anya only stumbled slightly before regaining her footing, like a rock hit by a wave. She said nothing, she did nothing, she just stood there, watching Liam's back as he walked toward a heavy bag. But inside her, something had changed. Her anger was not hot, it was cold. It was the coldness of a soldier assessing a threat. In her eyes, Liam was no longer an impulsive student. He was a destabilizing factor, a target. The peaceful facade she had tried to build had been breached, and the instincts she had tried to bury were slowly resurfacing. She clenched her hands, her knuckles white. Her fortress had been breached, and she knew, sooner or later, the intruder would have to learn a lesson. That deliberate collision changed everything. The atmosphere in the gym in the following days was thick with an unspoken tension. Liam Crawford had drawn a line in the sand, and now every practice was a cold war. He no longer provoked with just words. He used the drills themselves to challenge Anya's authority. He intentionally threw overly hard punches during sparring, ignored the basic techniques she emphasized, and constantly tried to make himself the center of attention, breaking the general discipline. Anya watched Liam, not with the eyes of a coach, but with the eyes of a soldier assessing an opponent. She knew he was trying to provoke her, pushing her to her limit, to make her lose her composure. He needed to regain his dignity after that slip-up, and he would not stop until he saw her fall. Therefore, she responded with cold patience. She ignored his childish games and focused only on those who genuinely wanted to improve. Her professional indifference only fueled the smoldering fire of anger within Liam, waiting for the day it would erupt. And that day came. It was a routine sparring session. This was the perfect opportunity for Liam to publicly display his power. He scanned the room for a target. His eyes landed on Noah Hayes. Perfect. Noah was a scrawny law student who had joined the boxing team only to stay fit, with no intention of competing. He was quiet, intelligent, and most importantly, the weakest person in the room. Teaching Noah a lesson would send a clear message to everyone, especially to Anya. "I choose you," Liam said, pointing his gloved hand directly at Noah. His smile had the cruelty of a child about to tear the wings off a butterfly. Noah's face went pale. But I've only just started, Liam. You're the team captain." "So what? I just want to relax a little." Liam winked at his friends. "Get in the ring." Anya stepped forward, blocking Liam's path. "Crawford, pick a different opponent. Noah isn't ready for you." "Oh, the coach is worried again." Liam laughed, his voice full of sarcasm. "Don't worry. I'll go easy. This is part of the training, right? Gotta show him what a real ring is like." Without waiting for Anya's agreement, he pushed Noah into the ring. The sparring began, but it quickly turned into a one-sided bullying session. Liam did not go easy. He moved around Noah like a shark toying with its prey, not throwing knockout punches, but a series of calculated blows designed to inflict pain and humiliation. A jab to the stomach made Noah double over. A light hook to the ribs made him stumble. The laughter of Liam's friends echoed after every hit. The other students watched, their faces showing clear discomfort, but no one dared to speak up. Anya clenched her hands. She had seen this before, not in a ring, but in much darker places. The strong always sought to crush the weak to assert their dominance. "Stop!" Anya's voice rang out, cold and sharp as metal. "Liam, stop now. This is practice, not a street fight. You're trying to injure him." Liam paused, panting, sweat dripping down his face, but his eyes were alight with amusement. He had gotten the attention he wanted. "This is real boxing, coach." He turned to Anya. "The weak have to be culled. Maybe you should go back to teaching yoga. That sport is better suited for women." The final straw had been broken. Anya knew that if she did not end this, Noah would be seriously hurt. "Practice is over," she said firmly, her voice allowing no room for argument. But Liam did not want to stop. He had gone too far to back down. He needed a spectacular ending. Ignoring Anya's command, he turned around and swung a straight punch, a vicious, decisive blow, aimed at Noah's already bruised face. In a lightning-fast movement that no one could follow, Anya lunged between the two. Her arm went up, her palm open, stopping Liam's punch just centimeters from Noah's face. Bop! The dry sound of the impact echoed. Liam's punch was so strong that it made them both stagger. Anger at being interfered with, humiliation at being stopped by a woman, wounded pride. All these emotions exploded in Liam's head. The monster inside him completely lost control. "You dare!" he roared like a wild animal, ripping off his boxing gloves and throwing them to the floor. The pretense of practice was over. This was pure violence. The other students only had time for a horrified gasp as Liam lunged straight at Anya. And that was when the terrifying moment happened. Liam's strong hand grabbed Anya's throat, the strength of a heavyweight athlete easily pushing her back slamming against the iron pillar of the ring, creating a resounding thud. "Who do you think you are to stop me?" he yelled in her face, his breath reeking of fury. He squeezed his hand, his eyes gleeful at being in complete control of the situation. But it was a fatal mistake, because the moment his hand touched her neck, Anya Sharma was no longer a boxing coach. The gym, the students' terrified faces, it all vanished. Instead, she found herself in a cramped alley in Kandahar. The man in front of her was not Liam, but an insurgent with a crazed look in his eyes, his hand also gripping her throat, while his other hand was trying to pull out a dagger. Memory and present merged into one. The combat instincts, forged in blood and fire, the very thing she had tried to suppress for so long, now erupted. Without thinking, her body moved purely on reflex, fast, precise, and deadly. When the initial shock passed, the boxing gym was no longer silent. It erupted in panicked whispers. Students hurriedly backed away, some helping Liam to his feet, others looking at Anya with a completely new expression, a mix of horror and respect. Anya did not say a word. She slowly got up, adjusting her wrinkled sports t-shirt. The adrenaline shock began to recede, leaving a cold, empty feeling. The beast she had kept caged for so long had just been unleashed, and now she had to work hard to herd it back into its cage. She did not feel victorious. She only felt tired. She knew the real battle was just beginning. It did not start with an investigation or a letter of reprimand. It started with a ping from her phone, then another ping, and another ping. The storm did not come with thunder, but with social media notifications. Someone in the gym had recorded the moment she took Liam down, but the video, like a sharpened blade, had been maliciously edited. It only began when Anya acted. From the moment she twisted his arm and slammed him to the floor, it completely erased the cause, Liam's attack, his bullying of Noah. In just a few hours, that 15-second video became a viral sensation. It was shared by tens of thousands of people with sensational headlines like, "Shock, female boxing coach brutally beats student, the true face of a teacher at Westgate University." Anya sat in her apartment, staring at her phone, which would not stop lighting up. She had become the center of a public trial, where the verdict was delivered by an anonymous mob, completely ignorant of the truth. Hateful comments flooded her personal page. "Monster, This kind of woman should be in jail. Fire her immediately. She had faced enemies on the battlefield, but she was never prepared for this kind of war. A war of lies spread 1,000,000 times over. The entire Crawford family's media machine went into action. The next day, Governor Preston Crawford held an emergency press conference. It was not a confrontation, but a meticulously staged performance. He stood behind a podium, flanked by the national and state flags. Next to him, Liam sat in a wheelchair, his right arm in a white cast, his face made up to look pale and suffering. "Ladies and gentlemen," the governor began, his voice trembling with emotion. "I stand here today not as a governor, but as a father with a broken heart." He paused, looking down at his poor son, a perfect performance of agony. "My son went to school to learn, to train, not to become a punching bag for a violent woman, a coach who is clearly psychologically unstable and cannot control her anger." The video we all saw, it's horrifying. It shows a predator disguised as a teacher. I demand that the university, for the safety of all its students, take the most severe disciplinary action. It was a knockout blow. Power, crocodile tears, and a cleverly fabricated story had nailed Anya to the cross of public opinion. She was no longer a person who had defended herself. She was an abuser. That same afternoon, a cold email from the university's administration was sent to her inbox. The subject line, "Notice of temporary suspension." Anya sat alone in her apartment, the night gradually falling outside the window. The room was shrouded in darkness, just like her future. The phone had stopped ringing because she had turned it off. The silence now was even more terrifying than the insults. She had left the military, where camaraderie was everything, only to be isolated and betrayed in the civilian world. This feeling was so familiar, the feeling of being left behind, alone to fight an invisible enemy. She had lost. The machine of power and lies had crushed her. Just when she felt most hopeless, the doorbell rang, a sharp, jarring sound in the silence of the apartment. Anya flinched. Her heart pounded. Who was it? A reporter, some extremist who had found her address. She cautiously approached the door, looking through the peephole. It was Noah Hayes, the student she had protected. He stood there, his scrawny frame, his face still a little bruised, looking both scared and determined. She hesitated for a moment. Opening the door could bring more trouble. But then she saw the resolve in his eyes through the small hole. She took a deep breath and opened the door. "Coach," Noah said softly, not daring to look her in the eye. I'm so sorry for causing you trouble." "It's not your fault, Noah," Anya replied, her voice tired and empty. Noah swallowed, as if to gather his courage. He looked up. "Not all of it is." He held out his phone. The screen was still on. "I think you should see this." Anya took the phone, her fingers trembling slightly. Noah had already queued up a video. It was the scene in the gym that day. But this angle was completely different. It was filmed from a hidden corner behind the heavy bags, and most importantly, it started much earlier. It recorded the entire scene of Liam bullying him. It recorded his taunts. It recorded the moment Anya asked him to stop. And it recorded clearly, undeniably, the scene where Liam roared, threw his gloves down, and lunged to attack her first. It recorded the whole truth. I recorded everything," Noah said, his voice still shaky but now steadier, from beginning to end. Anya stared at the screen, her heart stopping for a second before pounding rapidly. She looked up at Noah. The darkness in the room seemed to be pushed back by the small light coming from the phone. It was not just a video, it was a weapon. It was hope. In that moment, she knew that the battle was not over. It had just begun. Anya's small apartment, which just a few days ago had been a prison of isolation, had now been transformed into a command center. The only light in the room came from Noah's laptop screen, casting a glow on the law documents he had carefully arranged on the coffee table. The full video had been backed up to multiple secure locations. Now, they were no longer victims waiting for a verdict. They were soldiers preparing for a fight. "This is our weapon," Anya said, her voice regaining its usual sharpness. She pointed to the laptop screen. But a weapon, no matter how powerful, is useless without a strategy. Her special ops mindset took over. She no longer saw a personal problem, but a campaign. The enemy, the Crawford family, with almost unlimited resources, money, political influence, and a media machine. Their weakness, their arrogance, and an undeniable truth now in their hands. Noah nodded, his initial shyness completely gone, replaced by the sharp focus of a law student facing his first case. Legally, this video is irrefutable evidence of Liam's assault. It proves you only acted in self-defense. But they will attack our credibility. They'll say, I have a grudge against Liam, that I staged this video for revenge. Then we need support, Anya concluded. We need others to confirm your story. We need witnesses. And so the counterattack began. It did not happen with bullets, but with quiet conversations on campus. Anya, with her psychological analysis skills, identified students who were there that day, but were not part of Liam's inner circle. Noah, with his legal knowledge, prepared questions and explained their rights as witnesses. But the wall of fear the Crawfords had built was more formidable than they had imagined. I don't want to get involved, a male student on the boxing team said, his eyes constantly darting around as if afraid of being overheard. My dad has a construction contract with a company the governor has a stake in. I can't risk it. Another female student flatly refused. I'm sorry, Coach Sharma. I know you're right, but Liam won't leave me alone. He'll make my life a living hell here. Discouragement began to creep in, but Anya did not give up. She had faced far more hopeless situations. That evening, she and Noah met with a student named Mark, who was also at the practice that day. I saw everything, Mark admitted, his voice hushed. I saw how Liam bullied you, Noah, and I saw him attack you first, Coach Sharma. Then why didn't you speak up? Noah asked, his voice a little accusatory. Mark bowed his head. Because I was scared. Just like everyone else. Anya placed a hand on his shoulder. Fear is a natural reaction, Mark, but courage is a choice. We're not asking you to be a hero. We're only asking you to tell the truth. You don't have to face them alone. You'll have us. The sincerity and resolve in Anya's voice seemed to reach Mark. He looked up, and after a moment of silence, he nodded. I'll do it. That small victory gave them a new lease on life. They continued their work, and eventually, they got 2 more witnesses to agree to come forward. Meanwhile, Governor Crawford's side also realized that the situation was not as simple as they thought. They could not silence everyone. They decided to change their strategy from public attack to silent bribery. One afternoon, a sleek black sedan parked in front of Anya's apartment. A man in an expensive Armani suit, who introduced himself as the Crawford family's private lawyer, got out. He was invited inside. Noah was there too, as planned. The lawyer did not beat around the bush. Miss Sharma, he began, his voice smooth and professional. The governor is very regretful about what happened. He understands that his son sometimes acts impulsively in his youth. To show goodwill and avoid a noisy, unnecessary legal battle, the Crawford family would like to offer a settlement. He placed a leather briefcase on the table and opened it. Inside were a stack of documents and a check. $500,000, the lawyer said, pushing the check toward Anya. In exchange, you just need to sign this non-disclosure agreement, admit that there was a misunderstanding, and voluntarily resign. Everything will end amicably. You can start a new life wherever you want. See this as a smart business decision. It was a tempting offer, an escape route paved with money. With that amount, Anya could disappear, start over in another city, and forget all this mess. She glanced at Noah, then at the check. A flicker of hesitation crossed her eyes. She was so tired of fighting. But then she remembered Noah's scared face, Mark's hesitation, and her own promise to stand up for what was right. She remembered Ben, who fell because he believed in something bigger than himself. She slowly pushed the briefcase back toward the lawyer. Thank you for the offer, she said, her voice firm and clear. But justice is not for sale. The lawyer frowned. the professional smile on his face freezing slightly. "Mr. Sharma, do you know what you're turning down? You're going up against one of the most powerful men in the state. A public hearing will be brutal. They'll dig into your past. They'll destroy your reputation." "I have nothing to hide," Anya replied, her gaze as cold as steel. "And please convey a message to the governor. We'll see each other at the hearing." That decision was like the firing of a starting gun. There was no turning back. Anya had officially declared war. She had staked her entire career and future on a public battle where the truth would be her only weapon and her new comrades her only allies. The hearing room at Westgate University was not a courtroom, but the atmosphere inside was even more stifling. It was a large room with dark oak-paneled walls, a long, shiny table where the disciplinary committee sat with solemn faces, and the air was thick, heavy like the calm before a storm. The light from the chandeliers shone down, making everything look formal and intimidating. On one side was the Crawford family, a fortress of power. Governor Preston Crawford sat there, his expression calm and confident. Next to him was Liam, his arms still in a cast, and a team of lawyers in expensive suits, men who looked as if they had never lost a case in their lives. On the other side was the unlikely alliance. Anya Sharma, in a simple business outfit, sat straight, her hands neatly placed on the table. She did not look like an accused, but like a soldier awaiting orders. Beside her was Noah Hayes, in a suit that was a bit too big for his scrawny frame. He clutched his laptop as if it were his only weapon. Liam's lawyer began first. He was a real shark, his words slick, eloquent, and full of venom. "To the committee," he began, his voice echoing through the room. "We are here today to consider a disturbing act of violence. A coach, entrusted with the responsibility of teaching and protecting students, abused her authority to savagely attack one of the school's best athletes." He projected the edited video onto the large screen. The scene of Anya striking and slamming Liam to the floor was perfectly clear. This is not self-defense, ladies and gentlemen. This is a brutal attack, carried out by someone who clearly has anger management issues, a ticking time bomb in our educational environment. Next, he called Liam's friends to testify. They dutifully recounted a pre-scripted story, painting Anya as a harsh coach who always had a grudge against Liam. Throughout that performance, Anya did not say a word. She just sat quietly, her eyes calmly looking straight ahead, not revealing any emotion. Her stillness seemed to irritate the other side even more. Finally, it was their turn. Noah took a deep breath, then slowly stood up. "To the committee," he began, his voice a little shaky but clear. "I am Noah Hayes, a first-year law student and a member of the boxing team. I was there that day." He did not defend himself or attack. He simply told the truth, calmly and clearly. He talked about being chosen as a target by Liam, about the malicious punches, about how Anya had repeatedly asked Liam to stop. Liam's lawyer jumped to his feet, interrupting. "Objection. This testimony is completely subjective and unfounded. Mr. Hayes clearly has a grudge against my client. Does he have any proof to back up his words?" That was the exact moment Noah and Anya had been waiting for. A trap had been set, and the prey had just fallen into it. Noah looked straight at the lawyer, his shyness completely gone, replaced by the sharp confidence of a person fighting for justice. "Yes," Noah said loudly, "I have proof." He calmly connected his laptop to the large screen. The entire room fell silent. The lawyer smirked, as if waiting to watch a joke unfold. That smile vanished when the video began to play. The full, unedited video. The entire room was stunned to clearly see Liam intentionally landing cruel punches on Noah. They held their breath as they saw Liam ignore Anya's warnings. And finally, their jaws dropped in astonishment when they clearly saw Liam roar, throw his gloves down, and lunge to choke Anya first. The air in the room froze. The naked, irrefutable truth was being exposed for everyone to see. The Crawford family's play had completely collapsed under the weight of the truth. Governor Crawford's confident face changed, turning from red to pale. He turned to whisper something to his lawyer. but the lawyer only shook his head in resignation. Liam huddled in his chair, his head down, not daring to look at anyone. The final blow was struck. Shortly after, Mark and 2 other students came forward one by one, their testimony now validated by the video, forming a complete picture of Liam's bullying and assault. The result was inevitable. The chair of the disciplinary committee, an older woman with a serious gaze, cleared her throat. After reviewing all the evidence, she said, her voice filled with authority, "The committee has reached a decision. All accusations against Coach Anya Sharma are dismissed. The university will issue a public apology for wrongfully suspending her and reinstate her position, effective immediately. As for student Liam Crawford, for his assault, bullying, and defamation, he will be suspended for 1 year and permanently stripped of his captaincy." An invisible gavel had struck. The battle was over. The Crawford family hurriedly left the room in silence and under contemptuous stares. They had entered as kings, and now they left like thieves caught red-handed. A few months later, the atmosphere in Westgate's boxing gym had completely changed. Arrogant laughter was gone, replaced by the steady thud of gloves, the gasps of effort, and a high level of concentration. Discipline and respect had become the unwritten rules. Anya was walking around, correcting the posture of a first-year female student. "That's it, twist your hips harder. The power comes from there." She looked up when she saw Noah walk in. He was no longer wearing the ill-fitting suit, but a simple pair of jeans and a t-shirt. He looked much more confident and mature. "I got in, coach." He smiled brightly, holding up an acceptance letter from a prestigious law school. "They accepted me. I wrote about our case in my essay. I've decided I'm going to pursue human rights law." Anya looked at him, a genuine, warm, and unguarded smile appearing on her face for the first time. "I knew you could do it, Noah. You're going to be a great lawyer." "It's because of you," Noah said. "You taught me that fighting isn't just with your fists." Anya nodded, turning to look at her students training diligently. She had come here to find peace, to escape her past. But in the end, it was facing a new battle that helped her heal. She not only found peace of mind, but also discovered a new purpose: to inspire others, to show them that true strength does not lie in status or muscle, but in the courage to stand up for what is right. Her legacy was not the victories on distant battlefields, but right here, in this gym, in the eyes of the young people. She had taught how to fight for a better world. And that was a victory greater than any battle.